playing a truly great game for the first time. There's few things that come close. It can give you some of the best, most unique feelings inside. Embarking on a grand adventure, not knowing what you have in store, and only realizing after that you've just experienced maybe your favorite game to date. But what if you could erase your memory and go back and play some of those magical games again for the first time? What would those games be? I'm Felix from Nintendo Live, and today I'm here to talk about what those games would be for me. This was a very hard list to put together, because this is not just my favorite games of all time. Some games are really replayable, and games I played as a kid probably wouldn't hit the same as today, so I wouldn't want to ruin those nostalgic experiences. Sure, I could play them again for the first time, but I probably wouldn't feel the same. So yeah, this is a very objective list to be sure. I looked at all the games I'd played and chose with my gut, and I must say it was a blast looking back at some of the games I've played over the last few years and be like, yeah, that feeling I had right there, I want to recapture that feeling. And I know I never can, but I really wish I could. Let's look at the games I went with. And we're starting off with the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Now, this was my first endeavor with the Ace Attorney series. I don't really know why I started with this one over the originals. I think I just thought, hey, it looks better than the original trilogy, and I don't know, it just intrigued me that it was set in old England. Sure, you can play this game again, but it won't hit the same. The intrigue of this game is all the twists and turns it takes in the story, and you don't know what pieces of evidence you have to choose at the right times. It's really that shock factor that happens multiple times throughout each case. This is a two-part collection of the first and second great Ace Attorney game, and especially the second one. It just wraps everything up from these two games. It's absolutely majestical and one of the best stories I've ever experienced in a video game. Now, lucky me, there still is a lot of Ace Attorney games that I haven't had the time to delve into, mainly Ace Attorney 3, which I've heard is the best of the lot. So I can't wait to play that and be like, my god, I wish I could experience this game for the first time. Return of the Obra Dinn is one of those games that you can only really play once, because the whole point of the game is that you get to this ship and you have to figure out what on earth happened. So that's what you do when you play the game, but now that you know, you can never experience it again. There's also another game later down the list that has the same conundrum. Now, don't let the visuals throw you off, because if you do, you're about to miss out on one of the best experiences of all time, and that is almost what I did. If it wasn't because of one of my great friends really wanted me to play the game, I probably wouldn't, because I thought, I don't really like the art style of this. But then I got into it and I couldn't put it down. It's one of those games where I feel like, how did someone come up with this? It's just such a unique way of telling a story, and the dialogue and voice acting, great. I wish I could get the feelings of first stepping onto this boat for the first time, but for now, the best thing I can do is talk about the game and let you know how great it is, so you can experience this grand masterpiece. And then we have The Witcher 3. Now, this game is a game that you can play multiple times because there's multiple different dialogue options, but I don't think it can quite recapture that feeling of experiencing it with fresh eyes. This is a grand open world adventure where your choices matter. The world is huge and there's loads of stuff to do around every nook and cranny. Now, if I had just done a casual playthrough, I'm sure I could play it again and discover a lot of things that I hadn't in my initial playthrough. What did I do though? I tried to see everything this game had to offer, did all the monster contracts, found all the Witcher gear, and even though I will play this game again, I'm sure that a lot of it will be like, oh, I remember experiencing that, and so on and so forth. Getting to meet the cast of characters for the first time, learning to play Gwent, riding on your horse, making difficult choices, not knowing what the consequences was what made this game fantastic. And following that up, we have Hades. Now, Hades was one of those games that I had heard a little bit about before checking it out, but I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. I knew it had been nominated for Game of the Year, and that was enough to sell me. But I was quite surprised of how quickly this game captured me. For one, everything is voice acted, and it feels like there's an endless supply of dialogue. Every time you die, you come back, and there's something new happening at the hub. Yes, this is a game where you die and die again trying to get out of hell. The gameplay loop is also fantastically fun. You have loads of different weapons to choose from, boons that you'll claim from the Greek gods, and the layout of the rooms change randomly. You probably know the feeling, finding a game that you haven't really heard that many people talk about and it's just fantastic. Now, I know Hades is a very popular game, but at the time, I had no friends who had ever played it. The only thing I could really do was just soak it in, and my god did I. Reaching the different biomes, defeating a really difficult boss for the first time, yeah, Hades, you know where it's at. A good day for a swell battle. You're up! Man, Cuphead is a work of art. I remember the first time I saw this game and was enamored by just how well this looked. I thought, wait, there must be some trickery going on. You can't just have it look exactly like 1930s animation until you learn they actually animated everything in hand. This is a wonderfully hard game, and that's actually one of the things that I wish I could go back on because, yes, I've played Cuphead so much that I now feel, well, a lot of the bosses, they're not really that hard. I remember when I played it initially, my god, I thought this was the hardest game I'd ever played. Now, I normally don't play very hard games, but Cuphead, something clicked. The endless tries to defeat a boss. I remember I was at one of my friends' house and we would spend hours trying to defeat this dragon boss. It was delightful. The music, the visuals, the gameplay, everything is top notch. And I don't want them to change anything in how they make these games, but my god, it is hard waiting for a sequel or some sort. I know we got DLC, but I've played those and I just want more. And probably the game most people would have on their list if they've played it is Outer Wilds. Now, I actually contemplated quite a lot if I should even include this game on my list because, yes, I love the game, but also I really enjoyed my time with it. I don't know if I want to replay it, but then I remembered back on how I felt when I first landed onto Giant Steep and not having any idea what was going on. Recently, I got to see my girlfriend play through it for the first time, and it was a blast seeing how she tackled everything instead of me. She would go through each planet one by one, where I would kind of just go to one planet, okay, now I'm going over here, okay, now I'm coming back. I was very scatterbrained. So it was a very different approach that also meant that she found out information in a different order. Yes, this is a Metroidvania, but where the only thing you gain is information. And that's all I'm really going to say about the game. If you haven't played it, well, what are you waiting for? Metroid Prime Remastered. Although I don't think it's a 10 out of 10, the best game I've ever played, I still think this is a really great game. The vibes are exceptional with this one. Now, I had played Metroidvanias before, but never a 3D one, and yeah, they just nailed it. It is so fun to run around as Samus in this game. The controls are on point, and the different upgrades you get, well, it's what makes Metroid games amazing. That suddenly, whoa, this area over here where I couldn't go, now I can. Let's go there right now. There's just so many different biomes, it looks amazing, and the music and sound effects really gets you into that feeling that, yes, you're exploring an alien planet and everything is looking to kill you. Nintendo, please remaster the second and third one. I know I can just go back and play the original ones, but I would love it to look as good as this remaster does. I kept postponing it, but I can't anymore. Let me talk about my favorite game of all time, Zelda Breath of the Wild. The reason I made this video in the first place, I want to replay this game so much. That feeling of being on the Great Plateau for the first time, my god, that is a high I will look for the rest of my life. I was so out of touch when I played this game. I had no idea what shrines was. I had to search what is shrines because this old man said, find 4 shrines, and I had no idea what he was talking about. I feel like I've seen everything this game has to offer. I've done multiple playthroughs, one of them being a fast travel less run, and that made me fall even more in love with this game because there was so much I hadn't seen in my initial playthroughs that I saw now. Really can recommend it. It is possible, you also just have to have patience. It's what made me fall in love with open world games. Go anywhere you want at any time. You have complete freedom. I was never bothered by a lot of the things other people were bothered about, like weapon durability or a simple story. I just never thought about it when I was playing it for the first time. The world felt so big, coming down from the Great Plateau and landing on a big grass field, going through the dueling peaks. Yeah, it's really games like these that just makes me want to go, let me just erase that part of my brain. I loved it, but I want to experience it again. Please and thank you. But I haven't forgotten about you, Tears of the Kingdom. Even though I vastly prefer Breath of the Wild over Tears of the Kingdom, I wish things could have been different. The reason I want to play Tears of the Kingdom for the first time again is that I think it was a bad choice to play Breath of the Wild right before. I did that fast travel less run right before the launch of Tears of the Kingdom because I thought, it'd be cool to see all the differences. But it just meant that I was burnt out on Tears of the Kingdom. Also because I had to do the review and it wasn't in the normal sense that I get a code and can capture gameplay. No, we only had one code, so Alana captured footage and sent it over to me to make the review, and I got spoiled on a lot of things. I'm really glad glad I got to do the review, but my god, I also wish I could have experienced going down to the depths for the first time because Nintendo hadn't talked about it. I almost feel like I was robbed of that experience. Couldn't have been another way. I'm really not trying to sound ungrateful. I'm so glad I got to do the review. But I think my stance on Tears of the Kingdom would be better if I hadn't gotten anything spoiled and I didn't play Breath of the Wild right before Tears of the Kingdom. Ooh, this is an interesting one because I'm not sure it would feel the same playing this today, but also I would love to recapture that magic that was the first month of Animal Crossing New Horizons. That first month where it felt like everything was possible on this island. I was spending so much time in the game, so much that every day felt like I ran out of stuff to do. It's just I remember being so excited for Animal Crossing New Horizons. That like 30 to 40 minute trailer where they go through everything this game has to offer. I was just ready and it lived up to the expectations and more, at least initially, because over time, as it is with these endless type of games, well, you run out of stuff to do and the game slowly dies on you and you just one day decide not to play it ever again. But yeah, now I am so ready for another Animal Crossing because New Horizons, at least initially as it is with these endless games, can be so incredibly fun. And now it's time for me to talk about A Short Hike. This is a very little game, so when you decide you want to play it for the first time, it'll be over before you know it. But those couple of hours, well, it will leave you wanting for more. Or maybe not. A Short Hike is, in my opinion, like almost the perfect length for a video game. Games don't need to be extremely long for them to be enjoyable, and A Short Hike is a testament to that. It's just now I've explored this little island, I want to do it all over again, and I of course can, but I can't get that initial feeling. It was so fun interacting with these different characters, collecting all the coins so you can get a new feather so you can climb higher and meet new characters and collect more items so you can get more feathers so you can climb higher. Yeah, it's just a really addicting gameplay loop. And now that we're talking about A Short Hike, it's not made by the same people, but it looks a bit similar. It's Little Gator Game. Now, Little Gator Game might not be the best game I've ever played, but it has a really soft spot in my heart. It's a game about a little sibling wanting to play with their older sibling, but they're studying to an exam and are just not as fun as they used to be. That really hit hard with having a little brother myself and maybe realizing that I haven't spent as much time with him as I should have. Sometimes you just don't need to shoot and kill other people, but to make your own little role-playing adventure in a game and fighting against cardboard, imagining it to be a real enemy. And then, Tunic. I remember I was playing it around New Year's, and as I was going to this New Year's party on my bike, it was raining. And the song you're hearing right now is the song I had in my ears, and it just made me feel so inspired and so ready to take on life. This song and the game would stay in my mind for weeks to come. And even though some of the later parts of the game kind of ruined it for me, those first moments of exploring this wonderful world, well, I want to feel that again because it was such a unique feeling. It's a very hard time, so I might not want to play against the hard bosses again, but that sense of exploration and the aura of mystique this whole game had, well, it's hard to recapture that playing it again. Hollow Knight is one of the greatest Metroidvanias ever. There's a reason why Hollow Knight Silksong is my most anticipated game at the moment. Hollow Knight is just a work of art. You're going to traverse this huge kingdom with loads of variety of enemies, NPCs to interact with, and stunning backdrops that will engulf you. It just has so much character, and a lot of how you will feel is dictated, of course, by the wonderful soundtrack. When you enter the City of Tears or fight against a truly gruesomely hard boss, well, Christopher Larkin has just the right mood to put you in. Now, luckily we have Silksong to look forward to, and hopefully that'll be able to give me and many others that experience of trying out Hollow Knight for the first time, but we'll just have to wait and see if it can recapture that magic. And then we have Super Mario Odyssey. Now, I was really close to choosing Mario Galaxy over this, but as with a lot of other games that would have made the list if it wasn't because I didn't want to erase those nostalgic memories, well, it's the same for Mario Galaxy. So instead, let's go for a bit of a newer Mario game, Super Mario Odyssey. Man, this game is just absolutely fantastic, almost perfection in my opinion. I remember staying up past midnight to play this game when it came out and just being completely in shock of just how great this game is. The theming, the music, the movement, I mean, it's all just top end of the bar. Getting to visit all the different kingdoms, experience the capture mechanic for the first time. Yeah, it was simply just a delight. Mario Odyssey is just such a fun, complete game, and oh my god, Nintendo, just make Mario Odyssey 2! And that was the last game on the list, but luckily I still have so many games I need to play for the first time, and I'm sure that some of them would end up on a list like this if I did one again in the future. But for now, do let me know down in the comments below what games you wish you could play for the first time again, and if you enjoyed this video, why don't you click that subscribe button for the first time, and if you've already done it, reminisce about the time you clicked it for the first time. Don't forget to check out our website, nintendoloft.com, where you can find all sorts of Nintendo-related content, and I'll see you in the next one. Felix from Nintendo Life, out. I'm sure some comments will go like, where's Felix's hat? I literally can't find it.